Welcome. You're listening to The Best of Investing. I'm your host, Edward Brown. Our phone number is 888-912-1190. Use that number to answer the trivia questions for a 5-pack tanning certificate given away during this show. The certificates are not sponsored by the radio station, but by Tan Bella Tanning Salon with 2 locations in San Francisco and 1 in Marin. Today's trivia theme is miscellaneous trivia. Today, we do have a special guest. Cody Bjugan, founder of VestRight. Cody, welcome to The Best of Investing.
Oh, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Okay, so tell us, first of all, what is VestRight? You're the founder of it. What do you guys do? And we got some great stuff to cover.
Yeah. So I would say first, I would start off by telling you my main business that I founded is Allied Development, which is my real estate development company. We specialize in off-market raw land that has development potential, getting it through entitlements, and we sell mainly to publicly traded national home builders. And then VestRight, which is my online education company that I started in 2019, is basically us teaching exactly what we do. So let me say again, we teach what we actually do. And so that's where VestRight is. So we have hundreds of students, and we're a part of throwing down the rope, teaching a space, teaching an industry or a model within real estate that very few people understand and even fewer are doing.
And when you teach it to people, you're not really creating competition, right? Because my guess is you're probably maybe potentially partnering with them.
I look a lot smarter than I probably am, because people talk about all the time how, Cody, man, it's so brilliant you started teaching it, because now you have troops on the ground all over the country bringing you deals, right? Like how brilliant, vertically integrated.
Yeah.
I'm like, hey, to be frank, in 2019, I started VestRight just for one of my personal slogans, which is PIF, Purpose, Impact, Fulfillment. I just started doing it just to make a difference. Well, then what happened is students kept asking all the time, can they partner with us? Can they partner with us? Yeah. So finally we're like, okay, we'll start partnering with students on certain deals. And so yeah, now today we're doing several deals with students, but also we have several students that are doing their own deals, right? So it's a mixture.
And you do this around the country, right?
Correct.
How much do you do in California?
None.
You're smart. You know what? You're very smart. Hey, it's funny, I know people around the country and they just assume that, California, this is great, blah, blah, blah. And it's so hard to get entitlements that you can get smoked.
So we have students in California but our headquarters, so I live in Arizona in Scottsdale, Paradise Valley. But I'm on the board of the company at this point. Still the founder and owner, but our headquarters is in Dallas, Texas. And so that's where our CEO is, our executives, the whole team. But we're in a position where we can pick and choose where we want to do deals throughout the whole country. And it's pretty simple. We're just doing deals where everybody's migrating to, right? There's more migration happening in our country than ever. And so we're just doing deals where people are moving and where they want to live. And I mean, I hate to say it, California, but they're not moving there.
No, so Florida and Texas.
So Florida, Texas, Arizona, South Carolina, North Carolina, Georgia, Tennessee, Utah, Colorado, so on and so forth. But, and I do deals in Oregon and Washington too, just because that's where I was born and raised. And I lived there up until 2 years ago. So I lived there for the first 42 years of my life. But if I didn't have, 20 years of pipeline up there and people that know me and deals in my database, I wouldn't be doing deals on the whole West Coast. I'm not going to go political on this, but I'm just saying when you can pick and choose where you're doing deals, you're going to pick your battles wisely.
Yeah. To give you, to back up what you said, many years ago, we had this prime space in Marin County, where I'm just north of San Francisco, where I live. We had to donate 500 acres to open space in order to build on 35 acres. And it doesn't work. You know, the political, and it's funny because, oh, we need affordable housing, but the old NIMBY, not in my backyard, you know,
Oh, so boy,
yeah, I
that's
mean,
my life.
and the crazies are the ones in California. I mean, literally, I wasn't at this
Well,
meeting, but apparently some lady stood up and said, you can't build any houses there. And the question comes up, well, why not? Well, my son goes to the school that's near there, and if he looks over his left shoulder, he might see some houses, and that'll be emotionally devastating for life. So you can't build
oh
any
yeah.
houses.
So
I'm thinking,
I mean, we heard stories about, that's where my dog goes to the bathroom. It's just crazy. But,
or we saw a spotted
it's
owl 2 miles away. Yeah, it's
very typical in our industry. But it has been refreshing as we have scaled across the country over the last few years. There are certain jurisdictions out there that actually are glad we've come to their town.
Oh, I'm
right?
sure.
Like they applaud us.
Yeah.
Which I wasn't used to because, where I was, spent the first 42 years of my life, developers were kind of the bad guys.
Yeah.
And so
they had a bad rep.
Yeah. So it's been refreshing.
All right. Well, I'll tell you what, we're going to cut to our first commercial break. When we come back, we're going to continue on because we want to hear about some of these deals and, how you're teaching people, et cetera. Okay. And again, remember the rules. If you know the question, if you know the answer, Cody, don't say anything yet. We'll let you answer when we come back. All right. Which Apollo mission carried Neil Armstrong and his team to the moon? What was the name of the mission, the Apollo mission? All right. Call 888-912-1190. The first caller with the correct answer is going to win that tanning certificate. Stay with us. You are listening to The Best of Investing. Don't touch that dial. We're going to be right back. Welcome back to The Best of Investing. I'm Edward Brown, along with my special guest, Cody Bjugan of Vestrite. And our first trivia question was, which Apollo mission carried Neil Armstrong and his team to the moon? Do you know the answer, Cody?
I'm horrible at this kind of thing.
Oh, put you on the spot.
I don't know. Was it? Don't hold me to. I don't really know. Is it Apollo 13?
No. That was the one with Tom Hanks, and that was
yeah. Okay.
Close. Apollo 11 was the
11,
okay. That's all right. Okay, so Cody, how many? You said your company is headquartered in Dallas. How many people work for you in Dallas?
So let's see. I was just at the headquarters. I go there about once a quarter, and right now we're at 21 full-time employees on payroll, and then we have, I think it's 7 full-time VAs as well. So right at about 28 full-time, 21 on payroll.
What does VA stand for? Besides veteran
virtual assistant.
Virtual assistant. There we go.
Yeah.
I'm still used to real people versus virtual stuff. I get it. So we have some topics here to talk about. What does DCD stand for?
So DCD stands for Dirt Controls Deals.
Okay.
Or another way to say it is whoever controls the dirt controls the deal, right? Or whoever controls the property controls the project. So any piece of real estate out there, I don't care if it's an apartment building, a storage facility, a retail complex, a mall, I don't care what it is. Every one of those buildings, every one of those developments started with the dirt, right? Yeah. So if you can understand the dirt game, and how to find developable dirt, how to analyze developable dirt, how to deal with the political approval process called entitlements or land use, how to get these developments approved, you're in control. You can decide, hey, I'm going to exit at this point, or I'm going to take my payday at this point, or I'm going to stay all the way in, or I'm going to keep it. Or you decide, you dictate the future of that project. Mm-hmm. And to me, I find extremely valuable is with each deal I'm doing, I can decide, hey, at what point do I exit? At what point do I get paid? Maybe I want to hold this deal. Maybe it's really, really valuable to be in that position of control.
And how do you find deals? Because
we're
not looking at LoopNet.
No. We specialize in off market. Like, here's what I can tell you: if you don't have deal flow, nothing else matters. Right. Sure. So without deal flow, it doesn't matter what else you're good at in your business, right? It doesn't matter how good your development team is, or your construction team, or your planning team, or it doesn't matter, or your disposition team, because they don't have anything to sell. Deal flow is everything. And so for us, we want to control our deal flow. Well, how do we control our deal flow? Is by doing off-market deals. Is that if I'm sitting around for something to hit LoopNet or the RMLS, or a realtor to call me supposedly with a pocket listing that they're calling me and everybody else with, guess what? That's not off market, by the way. I'm not in control of my own destiny. And the problem is that you and everybody else is trying to buy the deal, where, with off market, it just totally changes how scalable your business is. It changes your trajectory. It changes the competition. It changes everything.
Well,
and so
how does one go? How does one go about that? Because do you just kind of drive around and you say, hey, you know what, that would be a good place to build something, and then just find out who the owner is and go to them?
Never. No. Driving for dollars would be something we might have done like 20 years ago.
Okay.
Everything we do today is with technology, right? So we utilize software and mapping and even Google Maps in some cases. But what we do is we create a criteria of what we're looking for, right? Like what area of that jurisdiction we want to be in. We look at where average incomes are in certain areas of the city or jurisdiction. We look at where the schools are, how the schools are rated. We look at where the utilities. We look at all these things, and we create this criteria, and then we go and pull the data of and what size parcels we want to do in that area or that jurisdiction. And then we go pull all the data for all the properties that meet that criteria that we run through kind of a search, right? Or a filter. And then from there, we cold call, and we send mailer, are our two main forms of outreach or prospecting.
What do you charge your students? Because you have these classes that you teach, right?
Yeah. So we teach exactly what we do. It depends on we have a few different programs, right? So we have one program that's $3,000 where we teach you how to prospect off market and how to analyze these deals. And that program is mainly set up to where you learn enough to know how to find the right types of pieces to where you don't waste your time or my company's time. And then you tee the deal up, you send over what's called a property profile, and then we'll take it from there. We'll negotiate the purchase. We'll run all the approvals. We'll sell it. We'll capitalize the whole thing, and we'll cut you in on the profit. So that course is $3,000. Then we have another course where we teach you A to Z. So everything that we do, so that, the negotiating the purchase, the running the approvals, getting it entitled or land use approval, governmental approvals, selling it, all of that, we teach you that whole shebang. That's another program, which is $10,000. Okay. And then there's another program that's $15,000, where it's got a lot more coaching involved, where it involves more live calls, right? Group calls, and includes our purchase and sale agreement that I've spent 20 years tweaking and building. Because this model's, if there's anything, let me say this real quick. If there's anything a listener can learn from me today, if there's only one thing you take away from this, one thing you need to learn about my model is that if you're going to go and play in the raw land that has development potential, and you're going to pay development values versus, say, as is farmland ag values, make sure you never close on the land purchase until the development approvals are in place. Because until the approvals are in place, all you have is the ag land or farmland. So that's the biggest thing I can tell you. And that's why a specialty purchase and sale agreement specific for our model is extremely important.
So is it more like an option then?
Yeah, similar. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Tell you what, I know this goes fast. We're at our second break already. All right. Second trivia question. What is the sport in the movie The Hustler? So the movie The Hustler was about a sport. Which sport? All right. Call 888-912-1190. First caller with correct answer is going to win that tanning certificate, which, by the way, is worth over $100. A nice little certificate. So again, what is the sport in the movie The Hustler? And I think this movie was in the early 60s, if I'm not mistaken. Call 888-912-1190. Don't touch that dial. The Best of Investing will be right back. Welcome back to the Best of Investing. Edward Brown here, along with my special guest, Cody Bjugan. Second trivia question. What is the sport in the movie The Hustler? And if you need it, do you need a hint? Okay, it was with Jackie Gleason and Paul Newman. If I say the name Minnesota Fats, would that help? No, that still doesn't help. Okay, The Hustler, it was about pool, shooting pool.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, good movie. All right. And don't worry, the next question is going to be even harder.
Yeah, I'm not.
That's okay. Yeah,
this is not my strength, brother.
That's okay. You're here as a guest, not you're not on The Price is Right or anything like that. Or
yeah.
Okay. Now discuss Allied Development's Blue Ocean model and how that can apply to any real estate class.
So, Blue Ocean. So,
Blue Ocean.
well, it's pretty simple. Like, go on social or go do a Google search. How many people are doing house wholesaling? How many people are doing apartment syndicating? How many people are doing storage syndicating? How many people are doing mobile home park syndicating? How many people are I go on and on. Here's the reality. House wholesalers, house flippers, apartment syndicators. You can find one on every single street corner and they're stacked 5 deep, right? And the same way that you can find tons of competition in those types of models, you can find just as many, you can find a ton of people teaching it, right?
Yeah.
So let's talk about going and learning how to prospect off-market land, raw land that has development potential, and learning how to get that land through the approval process or entitlements. Show me how many people are teaching that. I think you can only probably show me myself. Probably only me.
Yeah. I'm thinking about it. I'm thinking that because it's such a specialized thing. I mean, it takes a lot of work. It's not that easy.
Yeah. And so, well, what's nice about the lot of work is your consultants do 90% of the lifting. So my civil engineers do majority of the work. But now there are people out there teaching raw land, but it's more like rural raw land. Like I'm going to go tie up a piece of raw land and I'm going to flip it and make a quick buck, much like house wholesaling.
Yeah.
But no one is teaching because we're in the value add business. Yeah. We're in the business of taking raw land that has development potential and turning it into an approved development. That's what's called value add. And that's why we make the kind of money we make, because we're bringing so much value to the transaction, to the project. And so that's what makes it blue ocean. Is that here really the guys that know how to do what I do, which is very rare. Rarely do I walk into a room and someone understands this space like I do. Okay. And so, but here's the reality. The guys that do understand it, none of them are teaching it.
Yeah.
Right. And I have people ask me sometimes, Cody, if you make so much money doing it, why are you teaching it?
Yeah.
Because I'm not teaching it to make money. I'm teaching it to have an impact on my legacy. I'm teaching it to make a difference in the world.
Is that code the PIF, the purpose?
Yeah, PIF, purpose, impact, fulfillment, my brother.
Yeah.
So that's why it's blue ocean. It's just there's not a lot of competition. And guess what? Like real estate agents, 99% of real estate agents don't have a clue about raw land that has development potential. And it's not their fault. It's just not a part of the required education, right? And so it's just like I'm in the process of doing my first book, and we're basically calling the model, we see it as one of the best kept secrets in real estate. And it's because no one's teaching it and hardly anybody does it. And what a great opportunity for me and my company to make a difference.
It's so funny. For years, I do a lot of work with Pacific Private Money, and we're lenders. And we were talked about for years was the best kept secret in real estate was being a lender, a private lender, because you could get a fairly high rate of return with not so much risk. Thing is, it's not a secret anymore. It's like there's so much money chasing deals that's why interest rates come down. Now they're starting to go back up again, even on the private lending standpoint. And it's how much money does one need to start with? I mean, obviously, if you find just a little 1 acre parcel of dirt, that's not going to be a big deal compared to 100 acres to build a shopping center or whatever.
So, well, it depends how you want to structure your business and what your business model is. I mean, when I started out, we were doing 2 or 3 lots, right? And it didn't take hardly much money at all. Or it might be you want to do bigger deals, but you want to partner with my company. And so then you don't need any capital because we'll put in all the capital, right? Or maybe you want to bring in a joint venture partner, or maybe you want to, let me put it to you this way, that I can recall, I've never had a great project or property and had a hard time finding the money. If you got a great project or property, you will find the money. And so money should never be what stops you from getting into the space. And I'll tell you right now, and if you want to say, well, give me some whatever, bring me a great deal.
Yeah.
And I'll put up the money.
No, that's good. And by the way, how do people get a hold of you? We said that your name is Cody Bjugan of VestRight, but if the audience is listening and they say, well, I might want to get involved in something like this, how would they get a hold of you?
The best thing I would suggest you do, you can go search my name on any social platform or through Google, and you'll find me easily, or do the same thing with VestRight. But what I would suggest y'all do is go learn just a little bit more about my model. And I'll be amazed if you get to the other side of my ebook or my playbook, okay, and you're not amazingly intrigued. And I would be even more amazed if you don't come out the other side more educated. So do this. Go to VestRight, VestRight, vestright.com/best, right? And BEST. And that's going to give you can download my free playbook there. And let me say one more thing real quick on that. Here's what I can tell you. Even if you don't want to go do what I do, you're still worth learning it. Knowledge is power. And I have an advantage over most people in the room because I understand dirt.
Very good. Okay. Hey, third trivia question. Approximately how many acres is a baseball field? Call 888-912-1190. First caller with the correct answer wins that tanning certificate. Stay with us. Best of Investing. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Best of Investing one more time. I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with my special guest, Cody Bjugan of VestRight. Third trivia question. Approximately how many acres is a baseball field? Approximately.
I'm going to say 5 acres.
No, believe it or not, it's only 2.
Really?
Yeah, isn't that surprising? And you think about how big, but then if you think about it, it actually does make sense. Yeah. Okay, so here's another question for you. What does ENE stand for?
So, that's something that I made up recently based upon what I've been through in my life, but I just think it's spot on. And ENE stands for entrepreneur, not executive. I think so often people are founders of companies and they try to, go scale these companies, and they try to go from the entrepreneur's seat into being an executive. And I can tell you this, most entrepreneurs, in my opinion, are horrible executives. Yeah. At least for myself, I'll say that, a friend of mine, he has an event he calls Scale and Escape, right? And I would say, I would call it, my theory is just the opposite: escape, then scale. Because entrepreneur, you can go found the idea, you can get it off the ground. But to me, the quicker you get out of the way, the faster that company will scale and scale properly. And entrepreneurs just have a tendency to cause a lot of storms and a mess behind them. And so I just know that as soon as I humbled myself and realized that I needed to get out of the way and that I was not an executive, as soon as I realized I was the problem for my business for almost 18 years, the reason it hadn't gone and achieved all the opportunity it had available to it, as soon as I humbled myself enough to be able to say that and brought in an executive team, that's when the business took off.
It's interesting you say that, because I was the CEO of a hard money loan business for many years, and I didn't have the ego, but I realized, I'm a salesman. I'm a very good salesman. I like sales. I like being a salesman. I don't want to be a manager of people. And we didn't have a big company or anything, but it was it's a lot easier. And so now I do a lot of, I'm investor relations at Pacific Private Money, which is much bigger, has grown to a much larger company than my old company. In fact, it's interesting. We were on track, and I think we'll probably surpass that to do over $1 billion this year in loans.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean,
Congrats.
yeah, we've just exploded, and it's kind of interesting because, a lot of people are saying, well, wait a minute, with the way the real estate market's going, and the interest rates going up, and sales contracts being, not going through, et cetera, et cetera. We've actually just become a bigger fish in a smaller pond because a lot of mortgage companies have laid off people, and so there aren't too many other places where people can go when they're still moving, they're still changing jobs, they're downsizing, whatever the reason, and they need quick money, so that's what we do to provide that. It's interesting you mentioned Texas too, because we have a fund that buys discounted loans primarily in Texas.
Okay.
Yeah, and so we just pay a flat 8%, no higher, no lower, just flat 8%. But it's a very, very conservative fund. And a lot of people have swooned to it because you can't get too much more conservative than that fund. But one other quick thing, and I'll let you get back to what you're doing. We have another fund called our Freedom Fund, and that pays anywhere from 7 to 9%. And there's no hold. You can just give us 30 days notice when you want your money back. So a lot of people like that. They use it almost like a money market account. So for more information on that, go to pacificprivatemoney.com. So we have just a few more minutes here. What do you want to talk about? I want to hear some stories. Give me a couple of good stories, both winners and losers.
Winners and loser stories.
Yeah, you can't have all winners. We know that.
Okay, I'm gonna tell you a story that I'm going through right now. This is current moment.
All right.
All right.
Makes for good radio.
So let me tell you this. Okay, my land game and all this money I make doing land stuff and what this model that no one else teaches.
Yeah.
That's great, right? I've done it for 20 years. But here's the thing. That's the carrot I dangle.
Okay.
To be able to get to people. Okay. Meaning that's how I get in the door. But what I actually like to talk about and where my heart is in personal development, personal growth, becoming the best version of ourselves, legacy, purpose, all of that stuff, right? Like that's where I have poured myself into that the last 5 years of my life. And I'll tell you, I've grown more in the last 5 years than I did the previous 39, 40 years of my life. And so I'll just tell you this, and because you all have heard the stories, right? You go through these challenges, these failures, and the key, get back up, and you get knocked down, get back up. You go through trials, tribulations. The key is we learn a lot more through all of that than we do through our successes.
Sure.
Right. And I'll tell you what, that's 100% true. Okay. I've been blessed and been fortunate enough through all the different things I've gone through my life. And I have some crazy stories, is to always have gotten to the other side and be able to reflect back and grow. Okay.
Yeah.
And become become wiser, stronger, whatever it may be. Okay. And I think it's awesome, those that are able to do that. Okay. Cause a lot of people can't. They come out the other side a victim, and victim mentality, and it's unfortunate. But I'll tell you, over the last year, things have been going pretty good, and I'm going through a little trial and tribulation right now. And I told a few of my friends over the last year, I said, Mike, because I'm going to have another challenge around the corner. It's just part of life.
Sure. Yeah.
I have this goal that the next time I go through a challenge, that instead of having to wait to the other side to reflect back and grow and learn, to be able to reflect and grow right in the midst of it. And to not only reflect and grow right in the midst of it, but I'm a believer. I love Jesus, but to actually be in the midst of my trial and tribulation and to be thanking the Lord for it.
Yeah.
Because I know he's sculpting me.
Well, you'll appreciate this. I'm a Messianic Jew.
Okay.
So if you're a believer, you know what that means. So I get it. It's going through those tribulations and saying, okay, God, what are you teaching me through this? I don't want to, you don't want to live in fear, because that's not from the Lord. And what am I supposed to get out of this? Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
So I'm right in the middle of trial or tribulation right now. We're almost getting to the other side, but I've been able to thank the Lord endless times for the trial and tribulation. And
Good.
through that heart of actual gratitude that I'm going through it, he's shown me the things I'm learning.
Oh, good.
As I'm learning them.
Okay.
And not only that, but I mean, you just mentioned the word fear a second ago.
Yeah.
Fear drives too many people.
Absolutely.
Right? By the way, fear is not real, people. Fear is not real.
Yeah.
And here's what I can tell you. You need to learn to have faith. And I'll tell you this, you put faith in the ring with fear, faith will win every single time.
Yeah, it's like
faith
darkness.
over fear. Faith over fear.
You put a light on and it gets rid of the darkness. Yeah. You know, what people say, and it's true, 5% of what happens to you, 95% of how you react to it. That fear, I agree. It's you know, you get
it's happening for you, not to you.
Yes, exactly. Hey, I tell you what, we don't have a trivia question, but we're going to be finishing up here. We have just a few minutes to go. Stay with us, audience. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Best of Investing. Last time for today. I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with my special guest, Cody Bjugan. So, Cody, give us a quick story about you and one of your students.
Okay. So this comes down to the PIF again, purpose, impact, fulfillment. Okay. And why I started InvestRight, teaching others how to do what I do, is that I had the pleasure in the last few months to hold a ceremony at my headquarters in Dallas. And there was a gentleman that teed up a deal for us, right? Brought us a deal. We ran it all, capitalized it all, sold it. And we were able to cut that student in on the profit of that deal. And, you know, he full-time employee at his church and, you know, making ends meet, but we had the blessing and it was a very emotional time. PIF, remember the last part of that is fulfillment. Talk about a fulfilling moment for me. Was when I handed, by the way, this was an immigrant that moved here not too many years ago with like $700 to his name. I had the privilege of handing him a check for $610,000 and it changed, you know, here's the reality. That's life-changing money.
Oh, absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
And it was just, man, and all because I chose to start InvestRight in 2019. Right. And I just, I got, like I said, I got emotional. I a lot of times get emotional when talking about it, but the reality is that's what PIF's all about. Here, let me end with this. Happiness is not what we're searching for, people. I don't even like the word happy. Okay. Happy is temporary. Happy is empty, in my opinion. What we're all searching for is fulfillment. And whether we know it or not, fulfillment is what you're searching for. And I guarantee you this, you will never have lasting fulfillment unless you're making a positive impact. I don't think fulfillment is possible without impact.
Well, the happiness part is all selfishness. Right. It's all about you. You know, and Jesus said, I came to give you joy, not happiness, joy, and joy abundantly. So I get it. I mean, we're getting on a little different topic here, but that's okay. It's boy, he must have just been ecstatic to get that check.
Oh, yeah. It's huge. Huge.
That's
the best part of that story is we had to talk him out of signing his contract to one of the publicly traded home builders. He was in their parking lot getting ready to assign the contract of the land to one of the publicly traded home builders for, I think it was like $10,000 or $20,000. We had to talk him out of it. Wow. And then 11 months later, I think it was 11 months, we ended up writing him a check for $620.
And he had no idea how much he was going to make because it took 11 or 12 months.
I mean, we gave him an idea.
Yeah.
But, you know, I mean, he had to have faith. He had to trust. He had to, you know, but, you know, he's a believer as well. And I think we built some character credit with him. And it was just a real blessing to be able to be a part of that moment.
That's awesome. That's a great story. All right, Cody, give out your information one more time in case people are interested in getting in touch with you.
Yeah, so I just go to that link. Just go to vestright.com, vestright.com/best. Go and get a free copy of my playbook/ebook. You're going to learn so much more about my space, probably more than you've learned anywhere else because it's just not taught. So I mean, go there and then we can build our relationship, you know, through social or whatever. But yeah, go to that link.
All right. And for people interested in Pacific Private Money, just go to pacificprivatemoney.com and check out all the various funds they have to invest in. A lot of them are very conservative, paying as little as 6% and as high as 10%. So they're backed by the real estate. So rather than land deals, they're more just, they're going to be lenders, very conservative. We're not going to make 20 or 30, 40%. You're just going to make anywhere from 6 to 10%. All right. Now here's our thoughts for the day. What kind of concert only costs 45 cents? A 50-cent concert with featuring Nickelback. Right? And what did the grape say when it got crushed? Nothing. It just let out a little wine. All right. And with that, tune in next week to The Best of Investing. We're going to be giving away more free prizes for answering trivia questions. Thanks for listening. On behalf of our team, I'm Edward Brown, wishing you the best of investing. So long.